That's right. Now call it Joe.
All right, I'm gonna call the meeting to, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Any changes or updates to the agenda? All right, hearing none, we'll move on. Like to, call for an approval of both October 10th and October 20th meeting minutes in the packet.
What pages are those on?
Well, it depends on how Dr. Reed.
Oh, so for this one,
it
it is actually.
they've got copies of
2, 3, 4, 5,
Yeah.
2 through 6.
Oh,
There you go.
I move we approve the minutes for both of those meetings.
I'll second.
Thank you.
I'd like to, I do what, I was absent because I had a meeting conflict,
yes, sir.
so, but it doesn't say that in.
Okay, we can make that
I
adjustment.
only bring that up because, several years ago, when you were all young, my county commissioner was missing a lot of meetings, almost all of them, and it became an issue. So, I'd like to make sure that people, if I'm not here, you all know why.
Understood. Yes, sir.
Because you know what, can you add, meeting conflict after my name?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
We'll add that. Yep.
All right,
Who seconded the motion?
Karen.
I did.
All right, any further discussion? All right. Can we get a vote to approve the meetings with the changes recommended by Chad?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And
Yes, sir.
all aye.
Unanimous.
Unanimous, approved. Moving on to public comment, do we have anyone online for public comment? Okay. All right, then we'll move on to the financial update.
Hey, good morning, y'all.
Good morning.
Right, we're gonna start with August because we didn't approve those last month. We were missing a lot of expenses. Those have been put in. So we're gonna start with August. We have a bank balance of 445,000. We're gonna take out 443 for operating expenses, and we are in compliance with reserve requirements by 1,500. In August, your revenue is 82,000. We're gonna take out 99,000 of salaries and 40,000 of operating expenses for a deficit of just under 57,000. Fiscal year to date, so July and August, you have a revenue of 251,000. That's 1% below budget. Salaries of just under 210,000, which is 1% below budget. And operating expenses of 55,000, which is right on par with budget for a deficit so far of 14,000. Accounts receivable stands at 215,000, 36% of which is the West Virginia Treasury in August. Any questions for August?
Yeah, just a question on the operating expenses. They seem a little bit higher than trend. And maybe that's my misunderstanding. Looking ahead at September, there's another really high month. Is there anything that stood out there in August or September on operating expenses?
So coming into like September, August, even October, we purchasing for like flu vaccines, things like that, COVID vaccines. So our operating expense for in that realm actually increases during this time of year for all the vaccines, things of that nature. So
You also ran vaccine clinic.
we also ran ran the vaccine clinics. So those added up expenses.
Sure,
Like I
makes
said,
sense.
hit this time of year, unfortunately.
You're also paying for your audit. I noticed
And that is
accounting
also-
went up that month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
So good explanations for all of it. Thank you.
All right. Anything else for August?
We need a separate motion for August and September.
Don't we?
Do we need a
Usually,
separate motion?
usually when we just do the 2 months at a time, we wait till the second one, but this was one that we held over because, so we have 3 months that we're reviewing this month because there were some expenses that hadn't been booked in the August report last month. So, we could do August separately and then move on to September and October, but that's generally how we've handled it.
I like that. Can I get a motion to approve the August financial data with the updated expenses?
I move we approve the August financial report.
Right, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Right, August financials are adopted. You want to move on to September?
All right. So September, we are a quarter through the year. We have a bank balance of 391,000. We're going to subtract 386,000 to be in compliance with reserve requirements by 5,600. In September, we had a revenue of 89,000. We're going to take out 83,000 of salaries and wages and 67,000 of operating expenses for a deficit of 62,000. Fiscal year to date, we have a revenue of 340,000, which is 3% below budget. Salaries and wages, 293,000, which is 2% below budget. And operating expenses of 123,000, which is 14% above budget. And as we discussed, those are vaccines and accounting, stuff like that, for a deficit of 76,000. Accounts receivable is just under 226,000. 34% of that is the West Virginia Treasury. Questions on the September?
I do. I'm just looking at a couple of numbers and flipping through documents here. Or I may, sorry. So we've got in terms of our other outstanding debt, so essentially billables we're going after or that have not been paid. In September, we've got 149,000 outstanding. And then we had 138,000 in August. So, and I know we've got later in the agenda, the billing services and collections, update from Brandon, but how are we kind of continuing to accrue uncollected debt? Because that's like a $10,000 uptick.
Yeah, so any of the uncollected as far as what we've already billed out, we will be working again with MMS to try to figure out the best practices on that because they will be allowing us to look at if it's a code issue, if it's a, or they're just saying, I'm not paying it. When it comes to some of the newer stuff, we have been a little delayed on sending out some of the billing, just in the mere fact of numbers and personnel that we are, again, MMS will be taking over as well. So when that does happen, MS will be picking up on that as well.
It does look like that uptick is a lot of very new, aging, current invoices. When is MMS going to start billing?
So as soon as,
I know we'll talk about that later, but
actually scheduling a meeting with Wendy and Jenna with them to get the ball rolling, so as soon as possible. I'm hoping within the next week or so, I can get it going.
Is the threat preparedness grant that's not been
So, yeah.
finalized, so we can't bill yet?
So on the other side of that too, some of the issue is actually had this, so our QRT grant and our threat preparedness grant have not been fully approved from the state yet. It's been submitted, everything's up to finances. They have not released the OSA for us to sign and to start essentially invoicing for. So that's two grants per order each that have not been able to bill for. So that's a little bit where our revenue stream is kind of lacking as it stands. The QRT grant, everything looks good to go as far as the higher level is concerned. The threat preparedness grant is kind of up in the air when it comes to, because of the continuing of the resolution and everything else coming down from upon high, since these are federal grants. So
Typically, the threat preparedness expenses that we incurred for the first quarter ending end of September, we would have billed that, I guess, about 24,000.
yes, yeah,
In October, but because they have not yet approved it, nobody's gotten approved. The QRT grant, because that comes a month later, we've incurred the expenses September, October, and November, so we won't get that. We can't bill that until December. That didn't get finalized yet.
not yet.
Yeah, and that's not finalized yet. Last year, it didn't get finalized till 6 months after start date. So we accrue the expenses. That just, that doesn't explain all of it, but
No.
it does explain some of the cost piece.
But that would be in the West Virginia Treasury though, right? In the numbers of West Virginia Treasury, not in other.
But we haven't submitted it yet because we can't. So we haven't billed them yet.
But to your answer,
Under-
yes. Yes,
Yeah.
that would fall under West Virginia Treasury. As far as the expenses, as far as billing is concerned, that is, again,
that seems just a little odd because, and sorry, I know I'm skipping ahead, because in October, our West Virginia Treasury collections are significantly down. Like they're down to like 6% of what our outstanding debt is. So it seems a little
yes.
off.
Which again, the West Virginia Treasury aspect is the threat prep, the QRT grants that we usually would sign out for are not available right now to invoice, to even add to our
Balance sheet.
yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And then in September, are there any adjustments or write down of old medical debt at this point, bad debt expenses on the over 365? I know there's even some multiple years old.
There was some,
Mhm.
I do not have the exact amount. It's under 10,000 so far. So that process hasn't picked up speed yet.
All right, I'd like to recommend having through this fiscal year, each month, what amount is taken for bad debt so that we can kind of manage that down. I think we all agree, like if it's 3 or 4 years old and it's sitting in an AR account and it's $40 for a service in 2021, we're not going to be billing or collecting. But just having that number to be able to speak to the total losses incurred on medical bad debt expense this year.
Absolutely.
Thank you. That's all I've got.
All right, ready for October?
Oh, ready for October.
Okay. So for October, we are. What was that? I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, we're good.
Okay.
Is that what you were gonna?
Did you accept these?
We'll review October and then we'll vote to accept September.
All right. For October, we are a third of the way through our fiscal year. We have a bank balance of 419,000. We're going to take away 416,000 to be in compliance with our reserve requirements by 2,700. In October, we had a revenue of 156,000. We're going to take out salaries and wages of 140,000, which is a little higher because we had 3 payrolls in October. And operating expenses of 24,000 for a deficit of 8,000. Fiscal year to date, we have a revenue of 497,000, which is 1% below budget. Salaries, 434,000, which is 1% above budget. And operating expenses of just under 148,000, which is 13% above budget. For a deficit fiscal year to date of just under 85,000. Accounts receivable dropped in October to 170,000. And as Karen mentioned, that is 6% of West Virginia Treasury and the rest all other accounts. The questions for October?
No questions here. Any?
No,
Can we run through what it is, sort of the QRT and threat preparedness grants that you say that haven't been approved yet that we expect will be delayed? How much of that, what was the rough dollar amount on that?
Rough dollar amounts of roughly. So 55 to 58,000.
Okay, so we're still roughly $30,000 in the red. Am I
And again,
am I,
Yeah, and
if
so,
you like,
I'm so sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
So yeah, so we still have, are in a deficit. But, with that, that is, again, operating expenses of vaccines that we won't be having hopefully for the rest of like we have for the rest of the fiscal year. And then also, hopefully working on a few things to negate some of our operating costs in this conversation later, as well. So, while it does look kind of, not great at the beginning of the year, typically though, we see that trend of having a higher deficit at the beginning of the year based on operating expenses for vaccines, stuff like that. And again, some of the other aspects haven't even kicked up yet, where we haven't sent out for environmental health fees, any of that stuff for our revenue stream also. So none of that revenue has even been a part of this yet. So.
Well, the revenue year to date's pretty much spot on, the salaries and wages spot on. It's the 13%, a lot of that deficit's coming from the operating expenses being over.
Correct. Right, and
And
that
that's
should be just for this time of year.
vaccines in an audit.
Yeah.
Anything else that sticks out as the overages? Those are the two main ones.
Those are the two main ones.
So just,
So when you're looking at it, again, going back to the vaccine and the cost, Dr. Reed was pointing out that, and I think August, it was 20, just shy of 20. Just above 23.5, and September, it was actually 60 some odd thousand. For September or October or September, and then October was 71.5.
What is this?
The cost for the vaccines, that's the expenses,
71,000?
595 for October.
Okay, so those are some
Those are
dollar
yeah.
expense purchases.
correct. This time of year.
so this time of year, we're replenishing you'll see in the activity report, a lot of childhood vaccines that are typically given just before and after school starts. And then purchasing upfront the COVID and flu vaccines. And then now, but the reimbursement for that comes over the next 2 months, 3 months, as we administer them. So this is, and I think the year-to-date
And also,
expected budget was about 78,000 for vaccine expense, roughly. So we're paid for that upfront. So I think that's an explanation, not for part of the big expense.
And the revenue comes to offset that over the next couple of months.
right.
Right. So,
We also have the, vaccines for children, that sort of stuff that is revenue that we do take into the expense and account, that is under account for our budget as well, but again,
Yeah, I'm thinking of the flu and COVID. You guys do bill with the flu and COVID?
yes, absolutely.
Okay. Right, I'd like to call for a motion to approve the September financial,
September and October.
October's preliminary.
Let's,
Yeah, preliminary for October.
Yeah. Leave that for next month.
So I move we approve the September financials.
That's fine.
Any further discussion on the September financials? Right, all in favor?
Hi.
Aye. Right, ayes have it. All right, thank you, Amber. We appreciate it. Anything else for us?
Nothing. Y'all have a good day.
Thank
Have a good
you.
weekend.
Yeah, see you next month. All right. Moving on to unfinished business, the status of change to rule 4.2.
Yeah, so last Thursday, myself and Alexis got to go to the county commission and ask for approval of that change of rule 4.2 that we approved, and happy to note that the county commission has approved that change. So the new bylaw will state that with the corrected term of accept temporary businesses as of December 1, and we'll start saying that.
Kudos on your very professional presentation. I
I
think
appreciate
you
that.
represented the Board of Health very well, both of you. And I'm proud to be the ex officio member to this board. So thank you.
And I will say it was with the help of the commissioner, I have to say, getting onto the agenda quickly and being on there. So we appreciate that help.
You can always count on my support.
Yes, sir. We really appreciate that. And so, yeah, went smooth. Everything's approved.
That's great. That was a well done update.
and our next step is we have to register it with the county clerk. In years past, when that hasn't been done, then there's questions. Where is it? Is it officially law yet? I mean, officially a rule, but that's on our,
Yes, that's the next steps in the process.
that's up for you to sign.
Okay, all right, just let me know.
So what we do is we submit the
Mhm.
changed rules and regulations so that they have a copy there of what our rules.
If you have any problems, let me know, because I have a good interface with Jackie Shandle.
Awesome.
Our
Thank you.
excellent county clerk. She's been absolutely wonderful her term, both terms.
Excellent. Excellent.
All right. Any further discussion on the rule change? All right, moving on, the MMSWV.
So updating with the contract has been signed. Thanks so much for looking over the things and working on making sure that the contract is valid and on point. It's been signed, it's been submitted, so the next steps in the process are going to be with getting Wendy and Jenna to meet with Gina and Hope at MSWV, and sitting down and working out the process in and of itself. They'll be here, I think, twice a week to pick up bills and things like that. So that'll be hopefully an ongoing and very smooth transition to having them pay out.
So the goal is to have them billed maybe as of 12/1, any services rendered after 12/1 will go through this.
Actually, we can backdate it to whatever date.
So they are gonna go back
Yes.
on the old.
I do believe so.
Did they give you any sense of how far they would go back?
That was up to a communication, however far I think we need them to go back, so I would say September, October at the bare minimum.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they could capture, I would start with anything under a year.
Yeah.
If they might not wanna touch anything over 180.
Yeah.
But I would try to get them to look at that 180
Okay.
to 360 amount.
Okay.
I doubt they'll touch the over 360.
I do believe that's the understanding, like they won't.
Yeah, but I would shoot for the 180. I mean, it's only 15 grand, but. You know, you wanna kind of have them cast the net as far back as they can go
Absolutely.
and mop up what they can, even if they can collect 50% of that, it's gonna be helpful.
Absolutely. Now, I will say with that does come a little bit to our operating expense. We have to get into their system and be logged pay the price to be into that system that they use. But just to give that a heads up, it's, I think, $1,300. I don't want to say that's anything negligible, but it's $1,300 is $1,300.
Yeah, is that for multiple users or per user?
No, that's for the entire Jefferson County Health Department to be into their system we operate with, but
Their interface with their.
yes,
The clearinghouse?
yes, correct. I didn't know how to word that, thank you, Doctor. So but again, like I said, once we get that set up and ready to go, meet with them, it should be a quick, easy transition into what they need to do. And like I said, I'll take $5 from 10 instead of 0 from 10 and still be a year later not getting anything.
Right,
And they also have an option there for us if we decide, if they build out 3 times and no payment, that we can, I know we've talked about this previously, of sending to collections. They work with a collections agency that we could in turn send bills to collection if they build out for 3 and paid. Again, that is, but it will be strictly up to us to decide if we go do that or not. So.
yeah. I think looking at that too, you know, kind of what are your criteria for writing it off after the 3 attempts versus sending it to collections and
Understood.
having that written?
Yep.
Cause there'll be times when maybe it's not worth it, maybe everything goes,
Yeah.
you know, and you just go through the process on all of it. That's not something I think the health department has done before,
Not from my understanding.
clinical debt.
Say that again.
It's not something that the health department has done previously, send, you know, patients to collections for non-payment
we have
of
not.
debt. So that's a new thing. Now, there could be some, just have to be aware of
Understood.
potential issues with that.
Yes.
Hey, I've never gotten a bill before, what's happening now?
Yes, sir.
A lot of the local health departments across the state are not billing any insurances for some of their services because it's such a challenge. I mean, we're a moderately sized health department. There's some that have 3 employees. And to have to figure out how to be enrolled with an insurance company, essentially every insurance company, and then to figure out their billing works is just too much. And so we feel like we're behind compared to private practices, but we're ahead compared to some. Got a long ways to go, but
Yeah.
I think this is a big helpful step.
It will be, it will be. Yeah, yeah, and it's the, you know, you're providing a great public service doing that, and it's a very important part of the health department mission. It's just important, the things that we're doing now to streamline it so that it can be sustainable out into the future and even expand.
Right.
Into the future, these gears have to be solid, and even then, you're gonna have slippage and it's challenging environment that you guys are operating in, but it's important work that you and your team are doing, so we continue, we tighten it up, and I think this is a great step.
Thank
you. Mhm.
That's it on.
All right, any other questions, on the MMS billing? All right, we're looking forward to
I just want
seeing.
to, yes, I just want to say thank you to Brandon for leading the charge on getting that implemented and doing the due diligence.
Hoping, is it him or me? I'm good.
You.
Thank you so much. Sorry. It's Friday, that's fun. I have a little fun. Come on.
Not just a little.
Again, thank you so much for that, Karen. I appreciate that.
Yep, all right, new business.
Me again. One of the things that we would like to bring up is, to be approved is increasing the special pay rate for sanitarians, for our county. That being said, we are 45,000 and some change for new hires for sanitarians. The issue being Berkeley County, Morgan County is 50,000. This is not, we're not trying to play leapfrog. I don't want to increase it above that. I want to match the pay rate for 50,000 within the area. We've already seen that we've lost sanitarians to Berkeley County because of just $5,000. Now this pay rate wouldn't even necessarily be as much as the surrounding area. Where in Maryland, Virginia, sanitarians and training can go to be $60,000 or $70,000 straight off, no training. It would help to, one, match for the area, and two, kind of make it a feasible cost for the area that is well deserved. I mean, I know I've heard from other administrators who were sanitarians say, well, back when I started, it was $20,000. Loaf of bread wasn't $4 though, you know, so that sort of issue. We have a really great team that I feel works extremely hard for the area as well. The amount of work that they do for this county is absolutely insane. One of the fastest growing, we talked about this a little bit at the county commission meeting, Jack, with the fastest growing populations in the county. One of the few that actually has a 1% increase per year over the last 10 years. So 10% increase in the county over a decade, which compared to the rest of the state is a decreasing at a 7.4% over a decade. It's insane. That means new construction, which means well septic visits. So we're roughly at 1,000 a year, give or take, over the course of a year. I could probably be way off. We could probably be a lot more than that, not including the food establishments and other areas that we have here. That's roughly in the 400 to 500 range. That's just for one visit. So a lot of these locations have 2 to 3 visits that they have to do. Asking them to do that work, all that work, I would like to at least make it to where the pay rate is within the region for West Virginia. I know it won't be within the region of the other areas, states and counties outside of the state, but we at least should match up the pay rate for them. So we don't lose any of the hard workers.
Do you care if I jump in?
By all means, please.
Um,
I'm trying to tread water.
Thank you. If we have a phenomenal staff, I will brag on them to no ends, but we have a staff that comes from West Virginia. They are West Virginians. They love our state and they want to stay in our state. That's the feedback I get from them. But some of them live in Berkeley County, so it's just kind of that, you know, they work in Jefferson. They have worked in Jefferson for many years. They built their career here. They love this county and they want to serve this county. But it's always hard to have that sort of in the back of your mind. Well, we could just go to Berkeley for, you know, what truthfully is a small difference. I know it's not a small difference to them, but to an organization that can, you know, match that and really should be leading the way in terms of health departments in West Virginia as we're a growing county. We want to reciprocate that growth in our own departments. And I think it's common sense. I think it makes sense. And I want to obviously show that appreciation to our workers who are West Virginians that want to continue to do that good work here in this county. And we are very thankful for them. And I'm not just saying that because I have one of my team members there listening. But but they are phenomenal and yeah, they deserve it. Sorry.
It's fun.
Make sure when your West Virginians who are working here complain about the pay differential, make sure they recognize that the Berkeley County tax differential is much bigger than the Jefferson County. So what they're making might be eaten up in taxes.
But most of these people live there too, so they pay that county tax on top of that. So again,
It's a real dichotomy for all of us because we want to give the services out to the county.
Yeah.
But one of the things that attracts people to this county is the lower taxes.
Absolutely.
And so if we become more like Berkeley County, that's going to mean a lot more taxes.
Yeah.
And people aren't going to like that. So it's that balance between taxes and services.
Yeah, understood that.
It's tough. It's tough.
We ain't asking you to raise no taxes there, Chad.
I don't want to
I never want to ask.
So you're asking for an increase to the base salary. So what did that
Correct.
do with all of the other existing people, including yourself?
I'll let Brandon.
Oh, absolutely. So anybody, this is just a base increase of a rate for the sanitarian one. So any sanitarian one that has currently been here, that started at the lower salary can be moved up to the new base higher rate, for the special pay from 45 to 50. Anybody starting after that at a sanitary one would start at 50. It does not really necessarily mess with anybody as a sanitary two, registered, any of that.
What is the rate difference in between a sanitarian one and a sanitarian two?
$6,000, $7,000 roughly. Currently it's almost 10,000. So we've actually kind of cut that in half a little bit. So,
And is our leakage, if you will, when we lose sanitarians, it's at the sanitarian one level, not
Yes,
so
ma'am.
much the sanitarian two?
correct.
Do we have any sanitarian twos?
We-
Yeah.
I do want to say, we have lost 2 sanitarian twos. And those were the ones that departed last year to go to Loudoun County, for the pay differential between states. We currently have 1 sanitarian two on staff, and she's been with us for, I think, 3 years, almost 4 years now, 3 years. She's gonna kill me when I say that.
Yeah. I think we're looking at this kind of looking at all the levels
Absolutely.
and not just the base. You know, you get into the there's a term for that in HR. I can't remember the name, but
I pretend to be in HR. So
What's that?
I said I only pretend to be in HR. So
compression. I think it's like wage compression. You know, because then it's like, well, what's if I can earn this as a 1, what's the incentive for 2? Right? The incentive for being 2 is decreased when we increase. So that just think about it holistically.
understood. And I will say the state does cap us on pay increases per year of only 10% of their base pay. So. And while I would love to say everybody gets a 10% pay raise, it doesn't necessarily happen, right? Now that's also due to budgetary constraints, other things of that nature. So while they're, and when they do move up to a sanitarian two, they move up based on years of service plus whatever, plus that level. So the base pay for the sanitarian two isn't necessarily what they're going to be making if they move up. It's also based on years of service, things of that nature. So
Do we have to, a couple things. One is, do we need to go to the state to get get this approved?
okay, so what happens, this process, from my understanding from talking with the state, if you approve this, actually I write a letter to people within the DOP at the state level, and then recommending this based on the approval of our Board of Health. They put it actually as an agenda item on their next meeting, which is in December, December 19th. And I actually submit the approved or the meeting minutes from this that approves it, and then they vote to approve or deny that as well. So this is the first approval process within an approval process. But once that happens, it would take effect, I think, 1 January, if it gets approved.
Okay. So then, assuming all approvals of the approval process go through as hoped, then the base pay would, if we choose to then actually enact the base pay increase, it will be effective as of that date. It won't be retroactive to
Correct,
today.
correct. Because at the level, they have to approve it at the state level.
Okay. So then essentially, if we look at this, and I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the numbers, but we have 2 sanitarians this will impact. Is that correct?
3 now.
3. So that's a $15,000 increase to our expenditures. And I completely support this, by the way. I'm just trying to make sure our math gets lined up, because of sort of this deficit that we're dealing with. And so what are we doing to account for that? Maybe it gets made up in revenue and for the lawmakers in this meeting, and I just want to recognize Delegate Funkhauser, who's also on here, is that our sanitarian fees are not, or our sanitarian costs are not, we don't get those through appropriations from the state. These are all paid for based on fees paid to do the inspection. So this is all fee, I think largely, if not 100% fee-based supported salaries. And so I think it's important for, number one, the public to recognize that, but then also B, how do we account for the essentially $15,000 that will be increasing?
So thankfully, when I did the budget for this fiscal year, I actually budgeted our personnel at the 50,000 in hopes that we would be able to do this. So the number I gave for personnel is actually based off the $50,000 a year salary for sanitarian ones.
And because we'll be doing it halfway through the fiscal year, it'll actually only be probably a $7,500 impact to the current fiscal year.
Correct.
That's good foresight, Brandon.
Yeah,
That
good
was-
job
that
on
was
the
the hope.
budgeting.
Yeah, that was
great.
We
That
had
actually-
been talking about this for a while, so that was the hope.
Yeah, at that time when you submitted that, it's because we had just lost a brand new sanitarian to Berkeley because
Absolutely.
of that. They only changed their rate in the past year because they couldn't hold on to sanitarians.
Yeah, so that when you plan for the worst, expect the best. I don't know how you want to say that, but that was the goal. That we did.
Kudos to you. Kudos to you for that.
Big shout out to Alexis too for working with me on this.
When we were inspected this past March by the Bureau of Public Health, they did an on-site inspection with a bunch of laws we had to comply with. We got dinged, or we were deficient in 2 of the 60 or so points. One was that we had not a formal written program plan. We have proved that, so we're taken care of for that deficiency. The other was the random food service places that they checked to see of our inspection. The 2 that they selected were both supposed to have every 6 months, and they had only had 1 in the preceding year. So that was one of the big things we had to work on. So we had to submit a plan of how we would be able to correct that. And the big problem is that we have two things. One is we can't retain, and that's more than just salaries. There's all sorts of things that go into that, and that's again a problem not unique to us. But the second is when we get somebody, is that it can take 6 to 12 months till they can be properly licensed in West Virginia to actually do the job we hired them for. And some of those people, 2 of our people in the past year, since the inspection, have come, gotten their training and left. So we got no huge value out of it. And that's a problem everywhere, is that the training requirement we feel needs to be modified. Once we get a higher salary, then we still have the same problem. How do we pay for it? And that's where improved efficiencies, bill collections. Some of the money for sanitarians is partly paid for by state as we shift other roles from clinical to them, such as the reportable disease tracking with that. And that's, again, other health departments offset the cost of it because there are all sorts of other issues, threat preparedness, that sanitarians also are involved in. So lots of moving pieces. But it is something that we will be grilled on. Oh, and if we fail our, we don't know what a failing score is, but if we do not achieve sufficient grade on our inspection next April, I think, then they could withhold money from us. Which it's like, okay.
I'd like to make a motion to approve this. I think the case has been made.
Yeah.
I second it.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, board members.
Thank you. And yes, for the sanitarians, that we have here. And I know John would say the same thing. Thank you so much for this first step in the right direction for them. I really appreciate that. I know the second on Alexis's.
Yeah, I think this and then looking at the education requirements for sanitarian on the environmental side. The work on the MMS and the collections and understanding the gears that we're tightening up there. These are very positive movements ahead on both sides of the house, so
I agree.
it's positive.
So speaking about spending more money, the next item on the agenda, is
No.
actually. One more time, that's all I gotta say, one more time. So, we previously have all talked about moving away from West Virginia Office of Technology and moving with, the Tech Advisors as our IT service company. This would be, what we feel is a benefit to us, cost savings wise. However, unfortunately, with the state of West Virginia OT, they said if we do this, all of our servers and things that we have in our server room, they are taking, even though that we pay for them every month. Because it's their ball and they can take it. So with that, there would be an upfront cost to purchase IT server equipment. I prepared the breakdown for the quote with us. It would actually come out to be $10,526.02 as a total overall cost. With that, I've actually put down two different options here. We can stay with West Virginia OT and I'm doing the cost breakdown for that, or we can move to Tech Advisors to include the cost, upfront cost. If we stay with West Virginia OT, the rough cost is about $3,680.54 per month, which comes out to be roughly $44,166 per year. On top of that, we also have to purchase Adobe, which is about $5,000 a month through separate, per year, sorry. And then also on top of that, our rough Xfinity cost, which is about $3,000 per year. So the overall cost is $52,166.48 per year roughly.
So that's our run rate right
That-
now,
that's
as we
our-
stay where we're at.
Correct. So some of the intangibles that I like to talk about that matter to us but aren't fiscally impactful. So obviously we're paying for monthly source that we can't keep. At the end of the day, everything has to go back. We do have unfortunately a limited support. This is not on anybody. This is just how it is. We have a limited support here within the region. We have one IT staff for this entire region for the state. So when he comes in, he has to wipe a computer. It could take a week to 2 weeks to come in and reformat a computer, but we have 10. He can only do 1 or 2 at a time. And then has to leave for another week or 2, even though we need services now. One aspect of this too is we're paying for licenses of people that we don't have currently on the staff. For Google Mail, things of that nature so you don't get to change that until the end of their fiscal year for that licensure, which would be 1 July. Anything that we buy, we had to buy through the state of West Virginia, year-wise. They won't touch it if we buy it from Best Buy, Home Depot, sorry, that was yesterday. Best Buy, Amazon, whatever, Staples, we have to purchase through the state of West Virginia. And once we're done with that, we have to then turn it back in. We don't get to keep anything that we buy. And then any files that say we need, we have to pay a price for that, and we can only keep them for a little bit if we save them digitally in our shared drives. So that comes at a cost as well. So if we were to remove somebody from that, they only get to pay a storage fee just for shared drive files. With switching to Tech Advisors, the monthly cost is roughly $1,424.64 per month, which would come out to be roughly $17,096.28 per year. We do currently purchase Adobe through them for our license. For our licenses is actually $128 per month, which is roughly $1,500 and 54 cents per $1,545.12 per year. Sorry. Again, our Xfinity does keep at the same rate of 3,000 currently. We would have to purchase the licenses for, we would actually go to a Microsoft 365 business model for our emails, things like that, cloud server, which actually kind of falls in line with most of the county, I do believe, which would roughly come out to about $3,600 per year. Now, with the IT infrastructure cost of $10,526, our initial monthly yearly cost will be $32,167.42. But starting next fiscal year, year to date, it would roughly be $25,241.40. Some of the other intangibles, like I say, we get to keep all the property that we buy. We can buy through Best Buy, we can buy through them, we can buy through wherever they would work on it. It would still be ours at the end of the day. To include our IT infrastructure, all the servers there, we get to actually modernize, be up to speed, up to date with everything that we have, move to a cloud-based system. Our IT support is 20 minutes away in Shepherdstown. On call.
Couple questions on the pricing that you have for the Adobe licenses and Microsoft licenses. Are those numbers that you got sort of, if you will, looking on the web, or these government agency numbers? Because I know there's different prices for different, like if you're in education versus business versus personal.
Correct. No, those numbers that I got were straight from Tech Advisors themselves.
Okay. And that's my second question, is Tech Advisors going to be managing, if we approve this, are they going to be managing the whole transition? It's not going to be Brandon now taking off his HR hat and becoming now an IT specialist.
You don't want that, and that won't happen.
Right. No offense. I know you're very talented, however.
No offense on that. When it comes, I don't take offense to that one, because I am not, my son knows how to work computers better than I do, and he's 12. So
we can hire him then.
He probably do a better job than me, that's for sure. Don't tell him I said that. And
It's recorded.
Yeah. He would probably find it. But the other aspect too is it actually allows us with this, the fiscal numbers actually allows us to purchase new equipment. I think there's at least 2 desktops and a handful of laptops that people have that are, when I say barely functional, I mean barely functional. It takes 15-20 minutes for them to start up. That was, I think, Krista yesterday, the other day was about 15 minutes to start up. And it allows us to do what is called a tech refresh. So maintaining active working products over a cycle. And it would save us on that and allow us to do that. On top of that, any of the transition that goes to the new building, they take care of. And it aligns with the new facility too, because they are the ones setting up the IT services and IT networking at the new facility as well.
I think that's a big one. That's not to be this, I mean, that's a huge
Absolutely.
aspect of this, aligning with the larger county, with how the IT infrastructure across all divisions and departments are managed.
Absolutely.
It's a big intangible.
And they also maintain other services for other IT service for different county agencies. That would then allow us to be kind of on the same page that if we need to take our QRT program, if they need to interact with the EMS services, or if we need to interact with the animal control, they're all on the same IT system. So they all work out of the Microsoft, which would allow us to really kind of integrate a little bit more and be easier to communicate with when it comes to things, even just like a share file, if need be.
Yeah. Sounds like if you entered the contract with WBOT, they're gonna take all of the desktops too.
There might be some desktops that go just because they do own them.
Okay, and does the one-time initial IT infrastructure cost include the replacement of those desktops? Or that would be different
That would
add-on
be,
to
that would be
this.
a different add-on. I don't know if there's any that are to a point of, I don't know for sure if there are any per se. There might be one or two. But none of which would actually impact us in a negative way due to us having some laptops that if we can get them formatted, it'll be taken care of. So it wouldn't be an impact per se on us, initial cost wise. We have backups.
If this whole transaction was budget neutral year by year, it would still be worth it. We do not have a customer server relationship with West Virginia OT, not that they're bad, it's just that they can't individualize it to our needs and our changing needs. And a number of technical things that we need, we can't get in a timely manner. When Brandon's predecessor left or anyone leaves, all of their Google emails are not available unless we ask for special permission 1 month at a time for each one to be able to see it. And that's just not acceptable because you sometimes say, I need to see what,
Yeah,
what Gino said to this person on their email a year ago. Just little things like that that are just not efficient and worrisome if you lose all that information. And we're such a small voice.
and costly.
So question, because I know that looking at your options, that I mean, obviously there's significant cost savings
Correct.
in terms of the servicing, if you will, almost actually more than half the cost of what we're paying right now. But you say it's starting next fiscal year, but I assume that we'll have to make some purchases of the infrastructure prior to the end of the fiscal year. So I guess the question is, when does everything kick in? When do you want this implemented, and when will it start to, when are we going to start to incur the costs and or savings?
Oh, no problem. So if it gets approved, I can go ahead with the purchase order with tech advisors, and they roughly say a week to 2 weeks, and then beginning of December, we could have switched over. The only thing that we would stay on would be Google Mail currently, because we are paying for that license right now, and it doesn't end until the 1st of July, and there's no need to pay extra if we don't need to. But once it gets approved and we say we're good to go, and we put out the request for purchase, it would take into effect roughly the 1st of December, the switch over. They would come in, West Virginia team would come in, take the servers, wipe all of our computers. Tech advisors would come in, put in their servers, and get us up and running.
Is it a 24-hour thing, 48 hours?
They say roughly 24.
Not bad.
No. We would have to schedule that for a downtime when individuals don't have patients, or make sure that we don't schedule patients as well, because it's not like we can really do a whole lot.
It's like Thanksgiving Day, right?
Yeah. I don't think I want to pay that overtime though. So, yeah, we can go again, we're also at the whim of West Virginia team when they come out too. But it would roughly take about a week to order all the parts and pieces for the infrastructure.
So you'd start saving on the monthly expenses, maybe even January.
Yes,
But
correct.
potentially December, but let's say they come in December, they switch, WVOT covers through January, there'd be January through June of decreased monthly expenses.
Correct.
With more savings that come on the Gmail to Microsoft
Yes,
in next fiscal year.
correct.
I'm curious if the differentials in the monthly expense, how much of that monthly differential cuts into the 10,000 for the expenses?
I mean, we're looking probably roughly.
You're like 3,600 versus 1,400,
Yeah,
right? That's about almost 2,000 a month over 6 months. Your savings will cover the cost of the infrastructure. You'll be budget neutral by the end of this fiscal year.
right.
Okay, with $2,000 savings, actually.
That's the hope. That's the expectation.
Okay. I just wanted to do that math real quick.
I appreciate you doing the math. I really do, because sometimes math is not my favorite.
Okay, this is a move for approving this option. Is there any further discussion, or can I get a movement to approve this proposal?
I move we switch to tech advisors, as soon as possible.
Standing.
Second.
Ellie seconds. Any further discussion on that? Okay. All in favor?
Hi.
Aye. All right, Jefferson County Health Department is moving into the 21st century. That's great.
It'll be, I don't know what people will do with themselves with all the free time. They'll say, I'm not waiting.
There's plenty to do, isn't there?
Sorry, I had a question, one other question I forgot to ask, if
Yes,
it's
ma'am.
okay for me to ask. Are the staff feeling positive about this change? I mean, whenever you change technology, even as bad as it might be, it's still a
Yeah,
change.
Wait.
That's a really good point.
Yeah, we've had this, we've been talking about this for a while now. As the communications there, and everybody does seem to be positive. Krista, if you want to be the voice of the people, yay or nay on that?
Yes, computer is not working. It takes it a very long time. Things apps aren't working, it's very delayed, it's a challenge.
And,
Do you care if I do it?
buttons.
This is a little bit I'll update, but we did hire a new sanitary, so I'll go ahead and share it. And as her process of getting set up was as nightmarish as you can imagine. She's on day 3, I think now, unable to do any actual work on the server because she got set up with her password, and then she wrote it down, put her password in, and then it was wrong, and then she swears up and down it was not wrong, but it locked her out of the system after one wrong password. They called and they said, well, because you're new, we can't reset your password because you've only been in the system within 48 hours. So they're like, call back tomorrow and see if you can try it again tomorrow, or try it on a different computer, which obviously didn't work. And so she went through like 3 more different passwords, and it was a disaster. No actual work is able to be done, obviously, and it's just, you're calling, they don't have an answer, then they call back an hour later, and then you talk to someone else, and it's like, it was just a total disaster trying to get, a person set up on the account. So I can attest to that. We definitely want better. We are very excited for this, for sure.
Great. Well, I just encourage over communication as you do the transition, because even the best laid plans, especially even with IT, can hit hiccups and so forth. And so just please communicate,
Yes, ma'am.
regularly and often with the staff, and so that, just minimizes that frustration, because even excitement can turn to frustration really quickly, and especially if people don't know what's going on or what the timing is and so forth. So I just really, really want to stress that.
Yes, ma'am.
We're going through it. I'm going through it at work, so I'm just trying to avoid the
Conversation
challenges.
from experience at that point, huh?
Yes, exactly.
Yes, ma'am. No, that's the goal, is to inform everybody as we move along the next steps in the process, when things are happening, how things are happening, so no one's caught off guard with this. No one wants to come in and be like, why can't I log onto my computer today? And
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I would encourage you to consider looking at what downtime procedures might look like
Yes.
as clinical delivery,
absolutely.
in case there's any hiccups in the transition, and you've got, services scheduled,
Mhm.
capturing that on paper. Are there paper forms that can be used, that can be keyed in
Yeah.
later?
Yes, sir.
You should have those in place generally, but
Yes, sir.
definitely have them polished for this move.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Awesome. All right, I think we got an approval on that.
Yes, sir.
All right.
All right, Brandon's off the agenda because he spent too much money already this morning.
What we're talking.
I'd like to make a motion that Brandon's not allowed to spend any more money for the rest of this meeting.
Right, see y'all. Have a good one. Take care.
Great, so sorry in advance, I have a lot of updates. I'm gonna start with something a little bit non-environmental, but a project I've been spearheading. November 1st, West Virginians experienced a lapse in their SNAP benefits, and I, along with our QRT program, decided to come together and format a plan of action for how the health department can kind of step in and meet this need and direct people who are in need to services, as well as encourage some community partnerships through other organizations in Jefferson County. So we were able to, we have just been all out working on food drives and promoting our partner organizations. JCCM held a very successful food drive in conjunction with the Ranson Civic Center, I think last week, I want to say, and it was very, very successful. The National Guard has done mobile food distributions in our county, and we've been trying to promote those, as well as there's a lot of community members that have come together to either construct or fill local blessing boxes or like little free pantries. And we got a list of those locations and posted those for our community members who are in need, as well as we constructed our own little free pantry that is in our lobby. It was stocked via donations from health department members. So I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that donated to make that possible. We've given out over 300 items to the public since November 1st. So it was incredibly successful. It is still in our lobby if anybody wants to check it out, or add to it or to promote it. We still have it going and it is still stocked. So if you know anybody that is in need, we have hygiene items, diapers, wipes, food items. And then we got a recent donation from the West Virginia Conservation Fund of 1,000 hygiene kits, which was fantastic. So we have those stocked in our lobby too. Those have like toothbrush, toothpaste, deodorant, all kinds of items that people can just grab and take. So it's been very successful, and I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that made that possible. Thank you to Brandon for to happen and to meet that need of our community. I'm really proud of the work that we've done this month, and I just kind of wanted to give a little shout out to everybody.
Kudos to you.
And say that.
Yes,
Thank
It's
you.
wonderful work.
Really, really proud, and it, it's very exciting to see that we were able to step in at that time of need. So that is something I want to talk about non-environmental. And then as far as environmental, I already mentioned we did get a new sanitarian. She started this week, sorry. And she's going to be going to training in February of 2026. That will last until the end of April. So we'll be starting this cycle over again. I do already have her enrolled. She's going to get the online trainings knocked out. From now until February, she's going to be working on our disease surveillance team, under Lucy and Dr. Reedy, doing enteric investigation cases. So she will be doing a lot of epidemiology things that overlap with our food program mainly. So that's what she'll be working on. The Board of Sanitarians met on November 7th. And prior to this meeting, there was a list of the bullet points that we provided to the Board of Health a few meetings ago, about suggestions to the sanitarian training that local health departments are seeing and want to see changes made. And it's all of the things we've been talking about for months and that we've seen, issues with the on-the-job training, the communication, the in-person barrier of having to travel to Charleston and the cost to the local health department of that. These are all issues that are not specific to this county. So our larger region, which includes Berkeley, Morgan, Mineral, and Hardy County, all collectively came together and I provided our list that you guys got to see, and they had their own lists that were pretty much identical to what we've already been talking about. And kind of made this larger proposal for changes and submitted that to the Board of Sanitarians. And they met on the 7th. And I do not have meeting minutes yet for that, but once I get them, I will provide an update to see if there's any movement at the board level, to see if they're considering making those changes. But I do think it's positive that we have a larger regionalization effort going on, that we can all collectively recognize that these are issues that we want to see changes made to. And I just want to say thank you to this board for, entertaining that, for helping with that. And I will continue to provide updates on that as there's movement. So.
Alexis, do you know when you'll be able to get the minutes? Because I know in some boards you don't get the minutes until they're formally approved in their next meeting. And the reason I'm asking this is because, obviously we've discussed the potential for legislative changes.
Right.
But of course, we're working up against the state legislative calendar, which is relatively short. I forget when they go into session in January or in the new year, but are we gonna be kind of caught in a quagmire, if you will, of if this Board of Sanitarians don't release their minutes, but then it sort of kills our ability to do a legislative remedy? Do you have any idea on that?
Honestly, I don't. There's nothing. I checked their bylaws to see if there was an amount of time that they have, and I couldn't find anything. But I did send an email to the secretary of the board, Linda Whaley, and requested those meeting minutes as soon as they're available. So I'm hoping that since there's a request out there, that they will be able to get those soon, maybe sooner. At least in draft version, like you said, if there's some type of finalization process that they undergo, hopefully I can get a draft version that I can provide. But as soon as I have those or an update, I will definitely let you guys know for sure.
Do you know when they are meeting next? Because if I recall, they don't meet very often.
I don't, at
Okay.
least off the top of my head, but when I saw their meeting schedule, they had 4 meetings, in the calendar year 2025, which was more than the minimum required amount by their bylaws. So I'm hoping that maybe they have a more regular schedule now. But I mean, if I had to guess, I would probably say not till the first of the year. It's just
Okay. Yeah, and Delegate Funkhauser just put in the chat, the legislative session runs mid-January to mid-March.
okay.
So let's just connect on that and see what we need to do there.
The administrator of Mineral County Health Department is on the Board of Sanitarians and we work closely with him. He actually presented a lot of the bullet points, I believe. We can just give him a call and see what happened.
Yeah.
And we can get back to you about that. And I think the Berkeley Health Department's very involved and
Yeah.
very, very much aligned with our concerns. So we should be able to get an update before the official minutes come out.
Great.
Yeah. Along that note, Jefferson had a meeting with Berkeley County Health Department last month that there wasn't like a agenda, but it was with the intention of fostering communication and collaboration between our 2 counties. Our populations interact, enter between counties. We have installers that install in both counties, so we work with a lot of the same people. And it was very successful. All of our sanitarians came together. We shared resources and talked about this issue, and we were very like-minded. They have a new sanitarian chief, Michaela LaCour, and she is very good to work with. And I think that she and I are very like-minded and have similar goals and similar ways that we run our programs. So I'm hoping that having somebody nearby will help to foster, the ability to build up our two counties together, which would be fantastic. I think it's a great step. I was really excited about it and I think it worked really well. So I wanted to share that with you guys as well. And I think the sanitarians really enjoyed it. So we got to see our old pal who went over to Berkeley. And then the last thing I just kind of wanted to touch on before getting into the actual activity report, is that the Fox Glen subdivision has been an agenda item at the CTUB meetings. There is a push, or at least a proposal to move that subdivision off of individual septic system and onto public sewer. The health department is taking a position of support for that because the health department has responded to numerous complaints as well as is aware of current failings in that community. The septic systems are 50 years old or more than, and they are starting to reach their end of life. So we are in collaboration with a local developer as well as CTUB, as well as I'm reaching out to the Office of Environmental Health Services and the Department of Environmental Protection to see if there's any type of funding that could be extended to this community to alleviate the financial burden of repairing their septic systems. One of the ways the health department is going to be involved is we're going to be putting on a homeowner septic workshop, which is something that I have done before in Shepherdstown, and it was very successful. We had a full house at the Shepherdstown Library. We've ran that twice, and both times, oddly enough, people want to spend their Saturday asking questions about their septic. I mean, who would have thought? But people have a lot of questions. I mean,
It might be a little different though, but separate.
So yeah, we're gonna have to take an approach of true public health education. There is, these systems have been in the ground for a long time. We don't know, some people might not even know what a septic is or if it's ever been cared for, and so there's going to be a lot of 101, this is what it does, this is how to care for it, this is what it looks like, this is where it might be in your yard kind of things, just very basic how we can educate the community, and it'll be a really good way to learn what the needs are of that community, if they need education, if they need financial help with improving their septic system. And then we also have a collaboration with a local Eastern Panhandle Conservation Fund that will help offset the cost of pumping their septic systems. My understanding is they have a great deal of funds, so more than enough to supply a community of that size, which I think has about 300 to 400 homes total. So we have the funds to help that community if they want it. So we're going to be plugging that program as well. We haven't set a date for that yet, but I'm thinking it's going to come probably the next couple of months. Dr. Adie and I have been working on that together. But that's
Do you receive, I get this, I'm on the whatever county notification email system in which they send out grant opportunities on a regular basis. Do you receive that, Alexis?
I don't think so. Local or state?
Yeah, it comes through. I'm assuming that the county is subscribes to something that sort of curates this, but I'm just always curious of, grant monies that are out there. And there's not a lot, but a number of them that are related to waste and water disposal and waste management and all of that kind of stuff. So I'll forward you the one that I have. But there might be some opportunities there. And I don't know if Kristen over at CTUB may also, I don't know if she's aware of this or not, but I don't know. I just find it may be helpful. I don't know, may not be, but it's worth at least taking a look at.
Yeah, thank you. That would be really helpful. Yeah, we want to be sort of the connector for the community. So if there's grants that maybe the health department can't necessarily obtain that funding, but they're meant for private homeowners, we want to know about them so that we can make sure that these homeowners know about those programs and are getting help that they need. Especially in communities where there's known public health hazards occurring, that people just either they don't have the funds or they don't have the knowledge to understand the severity of the problem. So we've really been trying to kind of get involved in fixing that from, all angles of the issue. Like we know it's an issue. Do they know it? Do they have the funds to do it? Do they have the connections of, the installer, do they know where to go to actually fix it? So we're trying to kind of holistically approach it. And we're obviously thinking long term for this community. So right now we're targeting, the funds to like pump your septic system to maintain it, but we know that this community needs a longer term solution, which is why we've been advocating for the extension of the public sewer to that community. And
Is the public sewer already there?
so it stops about less than a quarter of a mile to that community. It is very, very close to it. And it could be extended. But the funds, obviously, it's the question of like, is there funds, and obviously does the community want to make that move? So we're trying to help the community to understand that if the public sewer gets extended, that this is a benefit to them, to their health. Obviously they would then have to be responsible for a sewer bill. But the trade-off is that you are not responsible for, the thousands and thousands of dollars of septic system repair and the health ramifications of, getting ill from a failure. So
That they would be required to pay the hookup fee. If
I
sewer is
don't know
available.
if they'd be required to pay it, because I think there's talks about alleviating that startup fee, and then they would only be responsible for the monthly bill. I don't know the ins and outs of that CTUB's been in communication with the developer on that end of it, but I know they're aware that that would be a barrier for some people, the initial startup.
And I think that's where maybe some of these grants, because the local government or government agencies are eligible from the, like, again, just the skimming I've done of this. So, I mean, that's sort of where we might be able to find money to assist the community. And again, that it's not necessarily our responsibility because that's CTUB, but again, working in collaboration, there's probably some opportunity there.
So just to, you're done with your report. Let's move to my report and I'll pick up on that. So just to rephrase a little bit of it, we're not so much advocating for replacement with public sewer, but availability if a lot fails. And so we have, I'd say, rumors that there are lots failing, but we don't know of that unless someone reports. We do not have the authority to go do inspections unless there's a valid complaint, such as sewage sitting on the surface of the land.
But we do know of some that through complete inspection.
This subdivision and many areas, perhaps thousands of homes in the county, are aging. So septic tank in the drain fields, 50 years is thought of as a, that's sort of their life. Like your roof has so many years guaranteed. Well, these don't have guarantees, but a lot of them could be corroding at this point. Some of them have never been maintained. You should have your septic tank pumped every few years. Some of them probably never have. People don't get any education on septic systems. It's just not what you talk about growing up. And if you came from a suburban area with all public water and sewer, you won't have that experience. These lots and many on the mountain and elsewhere were built before there were codes. So an undersized lot has room for one septic system, but you don't have land for a replacement if that one fails. Either it's damaged and fails or it just ages out. So these homeowners have very little option if their system fails and can't be fixed by replacing a pipe. The, the cost to pay monthly, sewage bills is, and hookups is considerable. That's not our immediate worry, except that we do care as social determinants of health, having unaffordable housing and stuff like that. So that's a public health issue, but not our specific role in public health as far as the code. So our advice has been, yeah, from a threat preparedness standpoint, it'd be very good for this particular community, since it was brought to our attention, to have sewage nearby that potentially hookups could be done in certain circumstances. And so the Charlestown Utility Board, we've talked to them twice. They're looking at it seriously. They're aware of different grants, and but there's always other ones you don't hear of from different sources. So this is something we've had several conversations with a installer and utility board member. So it's a concern, but also all the other areas in the county where this may be a problem are an ongoing concern, because it's you think of threat preparedness as just, forest fires or biowarfare or something, but it also can be these infrastructure problems that need to be addressed. And we don't pick which utility does what. There's continued home growth and having sewer lines extended so that new development has access, so they don't need septic systems, would help our sanitarians not have this huge number of septic approvals each year. Yeah. Not a lot special to I'll go ahead with. I jumped ahead because I've got a patient, but I jumped ahead of you. There is I mentioned last month that there are all these foodborne or food recalls. There's a recall now of an infant formula because there have been across the nation about 12 children, babies have been hospitalized with botulism, which is not something we see very often, but it's been implicated by one of the things. And that's something that we talked about tetanus and diphtheria producing toxins, and the botulism also produces a toxin, and that can lead to paralysis. The things of baby may have difficulty with constipation, difficulty feeding, such as difficulty suckling or swallowing, loss of head control, weak facial expressions, reduced muscle tone, and that can eventually lead to respiratory paralysis. So it's treated, it first has to be recognized, and it's treated with antibiotic preparation. So we may not see that, but these are all the things that we're expected to be aware of the latest, and then send out information to local providers, which we have. I don't have anything special else. Questions? I gotta go.
Thank you, Dr. Wu. Appreciate you. Lindsay? Yeah.
I do want to give a shout out to my nurses. We went down from 3 nurses to 2. And there's a lot, 3 people going down to 2 people, and I'm stepping in as well as much as I can. But them too, being able to pick up on vaccinations, it's been a feat. Just wanna say that we're doing really good. We're not on 100% where we need to be, but we're getting there. We've had multiple vaccine clinics, and it's been good. Yeah.
221.
Yeah, so I think we're doing very well with the circumstances we're in and even just where we're at in the time of year. Our numbers are pretty much where I'm expecting it for this month, this time of year. Vaccinations go up with COVID and flu vaccines. It's fairly common. I really don't have anything different to report.
Appreciate the update. Hang in there. It's tough when you lose somebody, but we'll navigate the team through it.
So jumping into the administrative report, sorry, Karen, I get to say one more thing,
No more money.
but I'm not asking for money.
Is this cost neutral?
This is very common. So of course, we had our county commission meeting, this past Thursday, that went well for the Board of Health, bylaw changes. Typically on the first Thursday of the month, I go to, Stonewall for an administrative meeting. Dr. Reedy stepped in, to go to that meeting, for me. I also believe he's trying to be an at-large member of that board, so I think that's probably why he wanted to go in there. Some of the fun things before we get into some current issues, though. We are hosting a Thanksgiving potluck this month on the 26th. That's Wednesday, and the floor. By all means, please feel free to come join. Might have a little bit of everything in that. Also an offer was, we have an offer to go if we would like to. I know we have a new board member that has not seen the new facility, to walk through the new facility in our area, the new facility before they kind of remodel it. So if I asked Laura if I could extend that out to everybody, she said absolutely. So please feel free, if we want to make a day, go down and see the new building, just gotta let her know.
There is a architecture review meeting
Yes, sir.
today. at
Speaking
3
of,
o'clock.
yes, we have a floor plan review with our architects today as well, to kind of flush out some more of the design of the new facility. So hopefully that goes well. It's been interesting to say the least.
I'm so glad that they're having frequent meetings and asking for inputs.
Yeah.
From the people who are gonna move into the new building. And so when you move in, you say, this isn't what I thought at all. So that's good.
Yeah, it's definitely
Or
interesting.
Laura, you can come to Rotary on Wednesday, we're touring
Oh, very
with
good.
lunch, noon.
Oh, that sounds like a better
Well,
deal.
Yeah.
definitely, 'cause I ain't buying you a lunch, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be cost neutral. So yes, this is a great time, interesting to play architect and designer, so
It's a very fun project.
it's something
Space planning.
definitely is different, it's pretty interesting. We did get a new regional epidemiologist for the region. She will actually be out here on the 25th to meet with our folks on site, kind of help guide us and being that liaison for the state, thankfully. A big shout out though to our QRT, especially Katie Blunt. She's actually being recognized by the county next month. I do believe that's what the email had said. I'm trying to remember it off the top of my head. Beginning next month. So really awesome work that they're doing. They've had like a successful rehab client recently. They've been doing a ton of outreach, a ton of just getting out there and helping the folks out. It's been amazing to see. So kind of our audit has been completed. We don't have any documentation yet, findings or anything else from the auditor yet. But as soon as that comes in, we reach out to everybody. So everybody have kind of our rundown on that as soon as I get it. All the previous issues, I know we talked about PIA and previous months, all those issues have been cleared. It was still couldn't give me a correct answer as to what happened, but there's no issues with anybody's insurance saying it, so we're good to go. Gotta love it. We have had some on the environmental side of the house, complaint wise, issue wise, we have had some complaints from citizens for various different things, one being a school in a neighborhood. The well and septic, Dr. Reedy just went out and talked to the complainants over the weekend and spoke about the complaint. Couldn't tell you how that went, but that would be a him question. So he's out there talking with them on that one. One of the other ones has been our help me out with the name of the lake. Mountain Lake,
Yeah, it's Mountain View Lake.
Mountain View
Is it
Lake.
Mountain View?
Um,
Mountain Club,
Mountain,
Mountain Lake Club.
there we
Mountain
go.
Lake Club.
Hey, we're getting there. And so that's been little complaints. We've been working on that since I think I got here, off and on, and we've been working toward making sure that, you know, everything is up to code from their complaints. Unfortunately, on our end, we're not really an enforcement agency, right? Unless something is actively failing, we are,
Second.
okay. And understand what I mean by this is we can't, unless there's an active failure, we can't like go there and check their well and septic, right? Am I right on that?
No,
No,
I can go check it if there's a complaint.
if there's a complaint, okay. Sorry, but we've done the due diligence on that. They have went out and checked the well and septics, they tested the waters, everything else like that, so we're in the process of hopefully closing out that complaint there on that end. Other than that, so I'm trying to run through it because I know everybody's got stuff to do. I'm sorry. That's pretty much it on the administrator end. Like I said, any questions, issues, comments, concerns?
Are we still moving forward with getting quotes from other insurance besides PEI?
So yes, I've reached out again to Aetna, Humana. Haven't heard anything back from them yet. The state is also, or not the state, my apologies on that. The other counties, the administrative meetings, we talk about what other options are available for us, if possibly coming through and kind of being a combined insurance for those who are on PIA, if they do move us off or whatever. So there's a lot of talk. We're not pushing through with anything right yet. It's finding out. We're on fact finding situation right now. So we're just getting all the information that we can. So, yes, sir.
I have a question.
Answer.
Did you get a visit this past week from Senator Capito?
I did not know.
Okay, because I got word yesterday evening that the senator had gone out to the new buildings and she was particularly interested in Board of Health. And I was under the impression that she might have had a tour out here too.
Not that I'm aware of,
Okay.
sir. Sorry. That was.
Well, I didn't get invited to the meeting either, so.
So I shouldn't feel that bad then. Okay, cool. All right. Didn't feel that bad.
But I heard about it, so.
Yeah. So yes, the first I've heard about that. Sorry, it kind of caught me off guard there for a second.
Well, the interesting thing is that she was bringing also some good news about some grants, which I don't have any details on, but earmarks that were in the budget for Jefferson County.
Excellent.
And I'm sure more information on that will come out at the next county commission meeting. Well, I'll get a full brief on it, but I kind of got the fringe, the brief. Our president was there, and I think they said it was Mayor George from Charlestown,
Okay.
and they might have had a couple other mayors there. So, and I understand it might very well.
Excellent.
And Senator Capito has been very supportive of this county's initiatives. Let's put it that way. So,
if you haven't seen the new facility, definitely check it out if you get an opportunity to.
she was impressed by the facility, is what I understand. So,
Please understand, when you look at it, it's just open. So it's very, you get to use your imagination on how it's going to look right now. So it's going to be fun. It'll be great to be downtown. It'll be great to be near the population center. So I look forward to that in the future. That's all I have in the administrative report. Like I said, is there anything?
I'd just like to thank Delegate Joe
Yes.
Funkhauser for joining the meeting this morning. Appreciate having you here.
Absolutely.
Are you still there, Joe?
I am. I was on mute. So thank you guys. I got to listen and learn about you guys, and please just let me know how I can help. And certainly, the more counties that share your opinion, the easier my job's going to be. But certainly willing, we can certainly carve out things for Jefferson County. I'm not sure if we've done that in the Board of Health aspect, but we've done it for other things like the impact fees and growth counties and so on and so forth.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in, Joe.
I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it. Thank you so
Yeah,
much, sir.
you bet.
All right, well, if there's nothing else, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Are
Second.
you sure?
Positive.
We have a second, all in favor?
I mean, I
Aye.
think I might find a couple bucks to spend here and there if you want to keep going.
Well, if you look at it through the fiscal year, the infrastructure actually is savings. not
Absolutely,
spend.
absolutely. So,
Hey, Brandon, I
Yes,
just wanted to
ma'am.
let you know, I'll also be remote next meeting, simply because I'll be traveling for work. So just want to give you a heads up.
I appreciate that. Thank you. Safe travels wherever you wind up, because it's always a not in the dark which over you're at.
I'll be in Indianapolis.
I will probably be remote next month as well.
Or you get to at least catch a Colts game or something.
No, I'll be there with all the racing industry. So
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
all right, all right.
all right.
Sounds
Thanks,
like a good
everybody.
time. Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
Thanks,
All right.
Karen.